bullshit. You ain't really wild, you a tourist. I be blacking out with the purist. I paid 100,000, I freaked it. I paid 500,000, I freaked it. I bought an 87.
Okay, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Earbuds. I am Ben Danzig. Alongside me, I have Matt Griffin.
Buongiorno.
And a new guest host, Danny Dignan.
Hey guys, pleasure to be here.
And an old friend of the program, Andy Siegert.
Hello.
We are missing our usual host, Yiorgos Mailbag. You might notice that the recording sounds a little bit weird this week. He is our tech guy. He masters and mixes all of our episodes, so we're trying to do it without him this week. So we got a lot of things to talk about, so let's get to it, boys. So the first thing we wanted to talk about was Black Panther. The movie,
snaps for that.
The album. It's a whole multimedia release. So maybe let's get some starting thoughts. I'll go to you first, Andy. Let's hear what did you think of the movie?
Well, the movie was certainly very hyped, and I was a little nervous to go because I am white, and apparently during like the opening weekend, that was like a hot button issue. But everything was fine. Definitely was looking forward to the unveiling of Black Panther, even though we got a little bit of a guest appearance in the Avengers Civil War. So we kind of knew what he was about to start. It was cool to see his own movie. The cinematography was unbelievable. The music obviously was really good. We'll get into that more later. Definitely liked T'Challa, the main character. He was pretty cool. Michael B. Jordan's character in the movie, I wasn't blown away with. I seem to be in the minority with that because a lot of people seem to like him. He was really cool at being really good at being badass, I should say, but I don't know, when he was trying to deliver the intense lines, I just couldn't take him seriously. I don't know, I'm not his biggest fan, so maybe I'm a little biased, but I really thought the movie itself was pretty well done. It kind of wrapped up concisely at the end, so we can kind of focus on the Avengers Infinity War that's coming out in a couple months. I know they kind of brought him in, Black Panther, last second. It kind of felt like, because they wanted to obviously bring in a new Avenger for the movie, but I thought that they did a good job at bringing him in so quick with this movie. And it's obviously just another way Marvel can make millions and millions of dollars, so they're never going to say no to a new badass character. But I thought that they did it in a pretty good way with this film, and I'm looking forward to Infinity War.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a hot take that you didn't like Michael B. Jordan, and I actually agree with you. But what do you guys think about that?
On the villain specifically, so here's my thing. So, I've read so many articles specifically about his role as a villain. And I'm kind of when I saw it, I expected it to be a very hyped role, and I kind of agree with you guys that there was a slight bit of being underwhelmed. But I think so. An example of what you're talking about when the lines didn't feel sincere. I think when T'Challa comes back and he's trying to fight again, he's like, "What's up?" And, that was Michael B. Jordan's character's line after this badass T'Challa I'm going to fight you, and then he just goes "What's up?"
They tried to make him a little too hip at times, and it made it kind of cringeworthy.
I'm from Oakland, man. I'm not Wakanda.
I actually kind of liked that. I liked how he in the beginning was kind of a juxtaposition between the old African tribe, and he's this new school dude. But then it was kind of hard for him to transition from that to fitting in with the tribe and trying to be serious, like Andy was saying. I felt it was really obvious that he was acting when there were some serious moments. But I would say overall he did a good job, and I say this just being nitpicky because I thought the movie was great overall. The aesthetics of the movie, I like that it was a standalone movie. It wasn't an excuse to just kind of shoehorn in other Avengers. I don't know, maybe a smaller movie. It's always just, trying to get Iron Man in there and Captain America and this and that. but I like that it was like a very serious standalone movie.
Mm-hmm. And I think that was kind of the point with Black Panther too, like as far as the culture goes and the movement for African Americans, like that was definitely a big selling point. I think if you had brought in other superheroes, it would have taken away from the impact that they were going for there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do we think it was a very impactful movie at the end of the day? Like, I feel like it was almost oversold in that aspect.
I don't know. I'm definitely someone that reads a lot, like, very much into certain things. I think for this movie, I think just compared to other, like, movies in the Marvel universe that I've seen, this one was much more textured, nuanced. Like, it was not so explicitly like, here's the good guy, here's the bad guy, and we don't really take the bad guy seriously. Like, not only did you have Eric Killmonger, who I think was, like, for all the qualms we've mentioned, was still, like, the most serious or, like, seriously taken villain I've seen in a Marvel movie. And then you even had, like, people like M'Baku and the Jabari tribe.
Yeah.
That was, like,
that was pretty
unreal.
sweet.
Oh my god! When they came in at the beginning, that was like out of control. Like I was stood up in the theater, I was just like throwing stuff. Not actually, but you know.
I very much agree. I thought that first trial by combat type deal was really really cool with how they had like the stadium seating. It was almost like the Coliseum and like gladiators going at it. I thought it was super cool aesthetically, just like these it's an ode to like old school like African tribalism, but just like this new age, obviously realm in Wakanda and everything. It was a cool mix, and I thought that dude fighting him at first, that whole scene was really really cool, and that guy ended up kind of saving the day at the end of the movie. I thought that was a kind of cool unite against a common enemy type deal.
Yeah.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So definitely. The action sequences were awesome. Just the whole, one man against the world Black Panther type deal was certainly, a tale as old as time, but they had a good spin on it, because you didn't really use, it's not like Iron Man who's just like using technology and guns to like blow shit up. It's just like this one dude who's going in there and, causing hell. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I thought, and maybe I was reading a little too into it. I thought they were like trying to make some a lot of political statements when they were talking about like how Wakanda should help other countries and like we should like let people into
Not
our country.
isolate ourselves.
Yeah, and I thought that was kind of like kind of pointing to the whole refugee crisis, and maybe that was just me reading too much into it, but
no, I think you're spot on with that for sure. Like I think the biggest example of that with them trying to make like political statements was Michael B. Jordan's last line in the movie, which probably was his best line ever, when he's like, like bury me in the ocean because like with the other brothers who realize it's better to die than be kept alive in bondage or whatever. I thought that was like definitely they were trying to certainly make statements with that, and I mean I think that's that wasn't a bad thing because I think it drove the plot and it was certainly interesting to think about. But
it fit the storyline.
Yes.
It wasn't like it wasn't awkwardly put in there.
And it's not like it's not like this is the negative way of looking at things. Like I agreed with Killmonger. Like that's probably like not necessarily like the overthrow and complete like black liberation movement nationwide, or like, and he was very intent on being selfish and killing people for his own gain. Like he burned that plan, which is like I'm the only Black Panther. Like no one ever, but like it was still like yes, Wakanda should help people. And it was like this weird conflict that I hadn't really seen in a lot of superhero movies, and I appreciated kind of that element to it.
yeah,
Yeah, it was good because there wasn't like any clear cut right answer.
Yeah.
Which is more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely fed into. Never mind. I'm too jacked on my caffeine. I can't even process my thoughts right now. Keep going.
Speaking of that plant, was there supposed to be like an Infinity Stone like under that? I feel as though because isn't there one Infinity Stone hasn't been discovered yet in all the other movies?
I'm not like versed well enough
I
in Marvel movies.
I didn't know if they
I
were
don't
trying to
know.
bring that in.
I didn't hear any reference to it. I mean they didn't. They kind of brushed over how it got discovered. It was just like in battle, that one soldier who was like the descendant of T'Challa and T'Chaka was like approached by the Panther goddess and given the heart-shaped herb, and he then became the Black Panther.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was supposed to be a reference to the Infinity War, and that's how Black Panther's kind of like mixed in with the whole Avengers.
I think it must be with the vibranium and the heart-shaped. Like, there's got to be like enough there for them to say like, yes, this is actually an Infinity Stone.
Yeah, like, or it could just be like tangentially related, like it's a byproduct of some sort of reaction with an Infinity Stone, and they could turn it into one, or I mean, they can write whatever they want into superhero movies.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm sure the comic book buffs already know what the deal is with that, and we're probably just butchering the storyline.
Something that I thought this movie did better than any other Marvel Avenger movie so far is they made a lot of women characters, female characters, just absolute badasses.
Yeah.
Like my favorite character in the whole thing was I think it was Shuri, his like sister or bodyguard, who
The tech whiz.
Tech whiz. She was hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She was a badass. The other, like, T'Challa's love interest was also just like
Nakia,
cracking
I
skulls
think,
and taking names the whole movie. Like, I think they did a really good job at kind of making, you know, the main characters not just all men, which a lot of the, you know, other Marvel Avengers movies kind of do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good point. It was almost like a good feminist movie as well as like, you know.
It's 2018, man. You know?
Yeah. And I
It was
think
an all-encompassing, like, minority, you know, kind of tribute, which I appreciated.
So unless we have any more points about the movie, we can move on to the album.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just say a few things that I was thinking about the album, and you guys can go off of that.
Sure.
I like the album quite a bit, first of all, and I really liked that it wasn't really in the movie, because I didn't think it fit with the movie.
It definitely didn't fit. I thought it was... I had the expectation going in, though, that they were going to play at least a few of the songs or something like that, and I think they played some instrumentals.
They had a few in
from
there.
part
It
of
was
it.
like 3 or 4 songs like were involved in the actual movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep going. I just wanted
Like-
to interject. I thought that was weird.
I was listening to it, and I think Andy, you said this to me. It's like a real hip hop album. It's got like tons of N-bombs, and like it's really, really vulgar.
It's
and it's
very,
just like a straight up
braggadocious and in your face.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's just like a straight up rap album of the times. It wasn't like, and I liked that actually. I thought it was good that they had like a motion picture score which fit the movie, and then also like a side by side album.
Yeah.
Because like it did, you know, it did, even though maybe it didn't fit in with the movie super well, it did generate a lot of hype for it, and it's just like good content.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that there's no better artist out there right now to make this album than Kendrick Lamar. Like, he just kind of like embodies kind of what the message of this movie was. So that certainly was a good choice. I thought, just set the scene when Ben and I went to see this movie. We pull up into the parking lot, and there's just this dude blasting, what's it called?
King's Dead.
And just losing his mind, like dancing in the parking lot. And we parked next to this guy. And I, at the time, did not realize that song was in the album. And it just kind of, it set the scene for just kind of like how this album kind of interconnects with the movie and everything. It was so loud in the middle of a parking lot at like 10 o'clock at night. It was hilarious. I thought when I listened to the album that it was an interesting mix of like Ben was saying, just like really hardcore hip hop, and then kind of a transition into that like almost spoken word poetry type thing that Kendrick likes to do. Like it begins with that, like the first song, Black Panther, is just kind of Kendrick doing that whole, you know, not a cappella, there's certainly a beat there, but he was just kind of doing that talking.
Yeah, like a lot of it, like they doesn't like To Pimp a Butterfly and like kind of stuff like that, where it's like very introspective.
Yeah.
Like mixing in the two.
Yeah.
Good interlude into the album.
And then it just gets like, it just gets hardcore at certain
Yeah.
songs. Like, you know, when, I don't know if we're going song by song.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
just start it.
Say
Yeah.
it, say whatever.
So I Black Panther, all the stars, definitely was like a nice kind of slower intro.
I like All the Stars. Everyone's saying it was like soft. Like I'm
I
a
don't
huge.
really like it.
I liked it. I liked it initially, and then I actually got really fucking sick of the chorus. To be honest, I heard it so many times. And Sis is great, and she sounds really good, but I don't know.
I swear to God, I
got
thought
really
she
sick
was.
of it.
I didn't. I thought SZA. Just hearing the name SZA, thought she was part of Wu Tang when I first heard the name. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a nice standalone piece. Like to have a single. When it dropped as a single, I was a little underwhelmed. But I think hearing it in the larger context of the movie and the album as a whole, I appreciate the change of pace because there's not a whole lot of like R&B. There's not a lot of like Weeknd-esque like future synth pop and rap or like more up tempo works. And I thought it was like a really cool like mood song as opposed to just like coming in and being like a hard rap song.
Yeah.
It was something that was like nicely appreciated.
Yeah, it's a good song, but it's almost a victim of just getting played too much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being one of the singles off of that was just kind of bound to happen, and you had to put in a poppy jam for your single, and that's just the sacrificial lamb. That's what was going to happen.
Yeah, I really, really loved 10 and King's Dead. If Future didn't have that one just terrible, just awful acapella.
Yeah.
Or no, not acapella, falsetto
Yeah.
part. Like the rest of that song's a banger.
Yeah.
That music video is also fucking so cool.
it is.
If you guys haven't seen it yet, there's a shot where all three of them, Kendrick, Future, and J-Rock, are all on 3 different skyscrapers, but they're all in line, and they're all like rapping at the same time, like shooting it live. It looks super fucking cool.
That was such a cool shot. I wish Yiorgos was here to talk about that because they must have done something crazy. Because it just goes. The camera like pans in on Future, and then like very quickly zooms out and then zooms back in on Kendrick, and the same thing for J-Rock, and it was just like such a cool shot.
Mm-hmm. It was also funny watching that because they have it on kind of like a stockbroker floor where they're just like blowing bills and whatever. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, I'm honestly not used to seeing black guys in that kind of a setting. Like that was a very like white dominant setting back in the day, obviously. So I thought that was kind of a funny reference.
Yeah.
Homage to that.
Yeah.
And 10 was like a great banger.
Yeah. Schoolboy. Anything with Schoolboy, I'm all in on.
I agree with that.
Definitely. I've never heard of Saudi before, but I liked his role in the song. It was certainly kind of kicked the aggression level of the album up a notch after the first 2 songs.
Yeah.
So, like Ben was saying earlier, it's just kind of that mix of, calm pop and then hip hop.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think just overall, like a song like that, like 10, is not like a family-friendly song
No,
or like a theater-friendly song. But I think the fact that they were allowed to make music like that made it really easy for Kendrick to get all sorts of artists.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like corny, like, yeah, I am the Black Panther, and yeah, and Iron Man's on my side. Like, I don't know, like, you didn't have to have lyrics that necessarily fit the movie. It was more like true to the artists.
Yeah. There are random references to like T'Challa and Wakanda and stuff. So that was kind of their way of linking the album with the movie. But I agree with Ben. I'm really glad that they didn't make some corny rap song about how all the Avengers were
Like the
work
Suicide
together.
Squad album was like a big example of that. Like Purple Lamborghini. It's like it's a cool song if it wasn't just so explicitly about like Suicide Squad riding in a purple Lamborghini.
Yeah, I agree. Very much so.
But personally, I just want to shout out Paramedic. That song.
That's a good one.
fucking love. That's my favorite song on the whole
bangs.
album.
And it's actually one of the few that's in the movie too, because when like we're introduced to Killmonger and his squad, like coming in, like they come into this song, and I think like Ryan Coogler, the director, and like Michael B. Jordan, Chadwick Boseman, like have all said like that's one of their favorites on there.
Yeah.
And I actually, honestly, like it better than anything off their new album they dropped this week.
The
SOB. Yeah, they dropped Gang and this week, and Paramedic, I think, far and above any song they released on that.
I think it's the best one.
That album's definitely worth checking out, though. It's got kind of a cool, like, a lot of the songs sound like you're playing in, like, a Nintendo game almost.
Yeah, it's kind of like a weird, like, play on the classic Bay Area trunk knocker sound, which is interesting.
Bay Area trunk knocker
Yeah,
sound.
I've never heard that, but I know exactly what you meant.
like the E40.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, no, it's like E40, Andre Nicotina, like Neftafera right now,
Okay.
like stuff like that. I think is like Murs if you really want to get into it.
I love
like
Murs.
Murs.
Murs and
good.
some of that like Fashawn as well, like some stuff from like Oakland and San Fran just has like E40 is like the distinctive Bay Area sound.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Trunk Knockers is a nice way to describe that.
Any other standout songs you want to mention?
I liked King's Dead, Paramedic, 10, and Big Shot. I really liked with Travis
Big
Scott.
I just like Travis in general. so
Yeah, for
with him
sure.
is kinda nice.
Bloody Waters is super good
love
with Anderson
Bloody
.Paak.
Waters.
I feel as though I'm gravitating to like the harder beats
Yeah.
of the album for sure. There was one song, I'm blanking on which one it was. It might be I Am or The Ways. I could have sworn it was The Weeknd in it, but I think it might have been The
you
Ways.
sure it was-
Weekend is in one.
I know The Weeknd, but it wasn't the song. I thought it was The Weeknd's singing. But
Are you,
I think
are you
it
thinking of
was-
Zakari, like on Redemption?
I think that's what it might be.
No, it was like in the first half of listening to the album. I was talking about it and was just like, yeah, wasn't that The Weeknd? And then I looked and
Oh,
like,
yeah.
nope, it wasn't.
Maybe the Khalid song.
I think it might have been that one with Sway Lee.
Yeah.
I like that song a lot too. It's not, there's no like depth to it or anything, but it sounds really
Yeah.
good. It's just
Yeah.
like a good head bobber.
I feel like that's a good song to just like drive at night too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like nice and smooth.
Really
and I
cool.
really like Khalid.
Yeah.
And Sway Lee actually sounds pretty good on it too.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a
Just tweak it out.
total tangent, but he's got to break up from Ray Shremmer soon, just do his own stuff because
Slim Jimmy's not got
Slim
that-
Jimmy's
What-
not great.
Slim Jimmy. I like Slim
Don't
Jimmy
get
more than
out.
Sway
Oh
Lee.
my God. Boo. Thumbs down.
I've never.
Bad radio, but thumbs down right now that I'm giving to that comment.
Sway Lee's got like the singer of the group, and then Slim Jimmy is like the rapper of the group.
No,
I
but
think
he's-
they go
Did we-
well together.
Like Shy Glizzy's a better rapper than him.
Did we talk about what they're doing for their album? I think we talked about it on the last podcast, but they're doing like a album. They're doing 2 solo
Oh,
albums
that's
and then a
right.
collaborative
Oh.
album.
That's
That's
awful.
pretentious.
And it's like a
That's
big, it's just a
awful.
screen grab. It's fucked up. We don't have to get into that
God
now.
damn it.
It's a little off topic, but
A song that I did not like, which I feel as though Ben is going to disagree with me. I just thought the beat was jarring and I just didn't like it at all. Was Ops. I really like Vince
Oh.
Staples.
Yeah, I
but
like that one.
I just like, I was listening to it. I think I just like skipped it after halfway through. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm just not into this song.
I love the woman they had on that. I don't know what her name is, but she delivered some fucking sweet lines.
Was that you?
Georgia Smith. or
No,
something?
No, Georgia's on I Am. It's Eugen Blackrock.
And that name is
Eugene
just
Blackrock?
badass, but
Oh, that was a girl.
I thought it was.
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to go back and take a listen.
Yeah.
Gonna get controversial. This
Yeah.
podcast.
I was gravitating towards I Am by Jorah Smith a lot. I don't know why, but
I didn't like that song.
It was
just
kind
made
of a
me feel
downer of a
sad.
song.
Boring.
but I just love the instrumentals hit me really hard on that one. Like just having it blasting in my earphones. And
Yeah,
just being like,
Eugen Blackrock is a woman. Not much about her overall. She has one album called Return of the Astro Goth. So
Interesting.
I don't know what that says about her musically. It came out in 2013.
That's another cool
She's
part
been
about
around
the
for a
album is
while.
like you have your mainstream guys that you would expect to be on the album, but then he sprinkles in a few of these artists, and you're like,
I've never even heard these
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, like she had like Seasons with Mozzie. Like because I
Mozzie
read
was pretty good.
before the album dropped. I read an article or that mentioned like Kendrick was like obsessed with this dude like Mozzie.
Yeah.
Like some street rapper that just like isn't that big but just puts out a lot of stuff. Is like super consistent and like I checked him out.
That's so
like
cool.
really good stuff. Like I think he's out of Sacramento maybe, but like he's got some really good tunes.
Yeah, I think this was I like when big time artists kind of give others a chance, and like Kendrick definitely made it a point to, get these artists' foot in the door.
Yeah.
Which is a nice nod to them.
It must be such an awesome feeling knowing that Kendrick Lamar is listening to your music.
and reaches
Yeah.
out to you and goes, "Hey, do you want to work on this soundtrack with me?" And it's
That
like,
must
"Fuck
be
yeah, I do."
like, the best feeling.
Drake kind of does the same thing as well. He'll pull up like he has the song like "Look Alive." We can get
Yeah,
into it
Block
later.
Boy
But
GB.
yeah.
Yo.
Six got Block Boy, Six got Block Boy.
Yeah. Well, I think. Do you guys have any closing points on the whole Black Panther experience?
Nope.
Yeah.
Only thing I'll add is that Mozzie's most recent album was called Blah Da Da. It's like I just had to mention
Good fun
that.
fact.
Yeah, no, I think it certainly
Or not
was
most recent, but
an
critically
interesting
acclaimed.
album that was very, what's the word I'm looking for, diverse. It just it had a lot of things. I think Kendrick was the perfect person to kind of like create this and direct this almost, and definitely a nice mix of really famous people and unheard of people who also are extremely talented.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we are all left satisfied with both the movie and the album, although we had some critiques. We're very happy with it.
Yeah.
So on to something that not everyone is very happy with, other than me, talking about the kind of new Justin Timberlake album, Man of the Woods. So I was kind of pushing for this to be talked about because it has fallen by the wayside by critics and friends of mine. And I'm just trying to get into the Justin Bieber,
Justin
Christ,
Bieber.
the Justin Timberlake corner right now. So I'll just say my 2 cents on it. I thought that, so I listened to the album and I tried to give it a few good listens before I looked at any reviews. And, I didn't like it as much as his past albums. JT's one of my favorite artists. The 2020 Experience, part 1 and 2, I think are very strong. And I was expecting a lot out of him. And my first impression wasn't the best, but I think it kind of grew on me the more I listened to it. And I always try and give artists that I like a little bit more of a chance with the listens through. But yeah, I think a lot of the critiques of this album was it was kind of a clusterfuck, for lack of a better word, of genres. He's trying to get some like trap elements and country and pop and like folk music in there. And those really aren't genres that mix very well. I think that the album has some very strong tracks. I really like Midnight Summer's Jam. I really love Waves. Breeze on the Pond is good. Say Something is good. I think his vocal performances are pretty solid across all those tracks. And the mishmash of genres actually, I think, doesn't clash too much. So I like the album, but it got ripped by a lot of people. So I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. Kind of put me back in my place.
I mean, you alluded to it, like Too Many Cooks in the Kitchen. I thought he was trying to do way too much with the genres. Going for like kind of the clubby vibe, but also country music was just really weird. And for sure, there were definitely some songs that I enjoyed. I'm trying to see what I liked here in my notes, but I don't know. For the most part, like I think JT just, I appreciate that he was trying to be experimental, and I think his head's in the right place and not trying to be like monotonous like we see with a lot of artists that get big like he does. But I don't know. It just, a lot of it didn't make sense, and it was a clusterfuck. I think there was some potential there, and there were some good songs, but when I sat down and listened to this album and really tried to zone in, that was like the longest hour listen to an album I think I've ever had. Yeah. It just got old.
Yeah, I like Breeze on the Pond. I like Montana. I think those are some really nice like sincere moments on it. But I've heard this album called like Indulgent and Vacuous, and I don't know if any of them quite fit what I want to say about it, but I think where I have 2 major qualms is the first, as that we've mentioned, is too much, and I feel like at this point you should, like, I appreciate you pushing the genre, but I don't think, like, this is the first album you've been dropped in 5 years after the 2020 Experience, which was universally acclaimed as like a very great like modern R&B record, very soulful, very sleek, classy, and he came out with this after 5 years, and it's like this leads into my second qualm is that like I'm a very big country music fan and not like necessarily mainstream country, which I absolutely still listen to. Shout out to my boy Luke, always Luke Bryan, if you don't know. But like, I think there are ways that you can blend R&B and country music, but I think when you try to bring like trap and kind of modern hip hop production into that, it doesn't work out as well as what his like strengths lead him towards. And I felt overall that like he took too many L's on songs because he was trying to like he included Chris Stapleton and say something's a cool track, but at the same time it's like if you want to be country, like make a country album.
Yeah, it's weird because like I think there are some good standalone tracks, but then you like look at like just how like inconsistent the album is. Like you listen to Say Something, it's like, oh, it's like this is like a solid like kind of country song.
Yeah.
And then you listen to like Supplies, and you're like, how are these on the same album? Like they're not even close to each other.
Yeah.
It's like very inconsistent, but I think it's a shame just because there are a good amount of tracks that I do like. I think they're just gonna kind of fall by the wayside because the album itself doesn't really flow well together. But you know, like Midnight Summer Jam and certain parts of Breeze on the Pond, those are like songs that could be in the 2020 experience. Like, you know,
I feel like even Midnight Summer's Jam would be more appropriate for the 2020 experience sometimes. I felt like I don't feel like I'm in the woods in this song. I feel like I'm at some like, you know, like honestly like a Mexican fiesta type situation, like drinking a Corona or something. Like I didn't feel like I was, you know, out in nature.
Yeah.
Like, if we assume the intent of this album is to like feel like more like kind of natural, like more to the roots of music. I don't know what Man in the Woods is trying to convey, but for me it didn't hit that. If that's what I'm going to judge it on, like you tried to do something, did you do it? No, not really. And
I mean, the other thing to keep in mind is like in this day and age, only people that are really music heads care about albums. Like we're probably some of the smaller amounts of people that are having this conversation being like, wow, this album was trash. It's like, oh, I like that one song, or you know, I like Filthy, I like Midnight Summer's Jam. So it's effective in the sense that for music now, but for us it kind of stinks.
Yeah. I just want to give one quick shout out to the song Sauce, and particularly the harmonica solo. I loved that solo. Danny's shaking his head.
I mean, I'm conditioned because my brother has a harmonica and he's not very good at it, but he plays it a lot. And I can't listen to harmonicas anymore. I can't do it.
Well, you know, I never thought I would like a harmonica solo, but I really
I'm glad
like
it makes
that
you feel happy
solo.
about it. If it makes you feel happy, then I'll be neutral at least.
I thought the beginning skit to that was so corny, and then like Sauce is forever. I was like, I'm out.
I love that. Have you guys seen the original video? It's just like some dude. It's just from this like YouTube video. This dude who works at Best Buy talking about the difference between sauce and the juice. I've watched it like 3 times.
Important differences.
So funny.
I was also thinking, what did he mean by sauce in that song? Other than maybe like semen. I honestly couldn't.
Sauce is like just like swag, like basically. It's like
he was trying to like woo a girl in the song, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and if you got swag, you can woo a
that's
girl.
fair.
I mean,
that's all I was thinking about. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, so we can kind of pivot to something else that we were thinking about talking about regarding this album, which is like the fact that it got such bad reviews, and you know, maybe in this case it was deserved. It probably was. But, you know, like for me as someone who did like the album, it just makes you think like, you know, do reviewers maybe have too much influence over what we listen to? And, you know, are we looking at reviews before we even listen to albums? And it's like kind of just driving everyone to the same, you know, set of albums because, you know, like Pitchfork reviews it well or Fantano reviews it well, and like, is it a good thing that they're pointing out, you know, deeper aspects of music that most casual fans aren't noticing, or is it kind of just, like sectioning us all off, like to think the same thing as these critics? Like for me personally, like Anthony Fantano's reviews are like, almost a little too nitpicky, and it kind of like ruins albums for me. Like I think the way that I listen to music, it's the reason I'll like a song is less dependent on lyrics and more dependent on just like how the song makes me feel and what it sounds like. So like, do you guys feel as though it's a good thing that we have, a big influx of reviewers, or is it maybe a negative thing in any ways? Thoughts?
I think we're seeing a similar dilemma with like movies too, like Rotten Tomatoes, and it's just like, oh, this movie had a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the director's like who saw this movie and like decided that, like, and no one's seen the movie. Which, if you're getting 0%, I'm not seeing your movie. What's like the Emoji Movie probably? Like, I'm not watching that. Like, no. But I don't know. I feel like, I think you mentioned it, like, as like people like who are very much into music, I don't think it necessarily skews my vision as much as it might like more casual fan. Like, I can see like if someone was just like perusing YouTube and saw like a bunch of like quick views and didn't even watch the video, but like went down to the comments and just like kind of saw like, oh, these different sources gave like a 3 or 4 out of 10, probably won't listen to it. Then I think that causes a problem. Just like it's like a saturated market in terms of like how many people are reviewing things, and then like how many people just parrot the top 2 or 3 reviewers. Yeah. So that's my big thing with it. But I personally don't feel like I'll listen to what I want to listen to, and I will judge music on my own behalf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I've never been one to let reviews kind of like dictate what I like, especially when what you mentioned with movies. Like, generally, if a movie has bad reviews, like, I'll think it's hilarious or something. Like I never really pay attention.
Like, shout out to Master of Disguise, which legitimately
love
has 0 on Rotten Tomatoes, and I will watch the movie every day. Every day.
The same goes for music. I've never been one to really like look at reviews before I listen to a song, but I like a lot of shitty movies. I like a lot of shitty music. And so I don't really mind if people say it's bad if I think it's good. Mm-hmm. I think that essentially I use reviews to like back up my own comments and arguments. Like if I really like something and the reviews back me up, it's like, this guy said it was 5 out of 5 stars, Mm-hmm. But if they didn't like it, I'll be like, who cares? It's still a good song. Yeah. So I've never been one to really put a lot of stock into reviews, but everyone's got an opinion. That's exactly what we're doing right now. So people just like to like give their views on it. I think that to not listen to an album or to not watch a movie just because one dude says it wasn't that great, I think that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like it's important to just like give it a good, honest shot if it's like an artist you like or something that maybe a friend recommended to you, like to not let the reviews dictate it for you before you've decided something for yourself. And it's not exactly like a huge issue. It's just something to think about, like what defines a song or any sort of content as being good, and it's different for everyone. Mm-hmm. This is all subjective. Art is like interpreted as you want it to be interpreted. Mm-hmm. So, yeah,
I think there's a big issue is when you watch the reviews or read them before you're exposed to the actual material. Like, mm-hmm. I am hand up like super guilty of watching Fantano reviews before I listen to the album. Like, I think I did it for the Logic album, actually. And one that I notoriously, like, crapped on for a while, and I've actually come around on it a little bit since then. But once he puts out his point so well, and once you've seen that, it's in the back of your mind when you're listening to it, and you're like, oh, man, like, it takes away from your initial listening experience because you already have these notions going for you. So, I don't know.
It's true. It's just so disappointing for me when I'm like, oh, this album was a banger, and then I'll listen to Fantano, and it'll just be like, yeah, this wasn't well thought out, and this just sounded corny.
Like the production was just mixed so poorly. It's like I had no call. I didn't notice.
I was like, I
anything wrong about it.
have no idea what you're talking about.
I think he should just not give time to certain styles of music. Like Kodak Black, like it is funny that he picks those albums apart and has funny segments like talking about like vaginas being like mac and cheese. Like it's funny when he breaks those down, but sometimes it's like just stay away from that, man. Like don't waste your time with it.
I
Like
don't think Kodak put a lot of thought into it.
yeah,
Well, we never
that's
know.
what I mean.
Never
Like,
speak for another
like,
person.
Fantano probably put more thought into that review than he did for his past 3 albums. So like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, multi-million-dollar new podcast idea. Music reviewers reviews.
I'm very much
Telling
into
you,
this.
we review the reviewers. It's perfect.
It's our Splinter podcast. As it's been a quick appearance for me, and then me and Eddie are going to start up. You'll hear back from us soon about our new
Yeah,
podcast.
exactly.
What do we think of earbuds, you know?
Yikes,
Watch
I
us
don't want to
on
hear
the
yeah, I
that.
don't want to hear that review at all.
Right, we haven't done this enough to be reviewed yet.
Small body work.
Yeah. So let's move on to some current news. A lot of stuff going on in the music world. And let's talk about this thing that has been dubbed as the Drake quake.
It was probably a minor Drake quake.
Quake.
Again, my Drake quake. It's like a 5-year-old. But yeah, minor Drake quake. He dropped a song with I still don't know.
Black Boy JB.
Black Boy JB. Look Alive. It's a banger. Drake's on a roll. It's making me super excited for what 2018 has in store for him. Hopefully he's on the right trajectory. I feel like he's doing this to be like, I've still got it, and then he's gonna drop something like what experimental or too R&B-ish, and I'm not gonna like it. But that's just me being negative. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's not where it goes.
I like I think Andy and I were watching the music videos of God's Plan and then the Look Alive music videos back to back,
So
and it was
funny.
just
Another Drake reference.
Oh yeah, wow. And it's just interesting to kind of see, like, his what am I trying to say? Yeah, his range. Like God's Plan, especially the music video is like, trying to be like very, like
Do you guys think that's too,
community-driven.
like, what do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I was.
God's plan.
Like
video?
the video,
I
yeah.
loved it.
I loved it. First of all, the song "God's Plan" is awesome.
Banger.
That song
Certified.
is awesome. But when the music video dropped and I watched it, it starts off with like such an arbitrary number. Like this music video, the budget for this was like $996,000, couple extra dollars. Like we gave it all away. Don't tell the label, and it just like that set the tone of like, okay, this is gonna be corny. And like obviously, it was awesome to see him. Making people's lives a lot better just by like giving them stacks of cash.
Yeah.
But it was cool that he just like went into a grocery store and bought everyone groceries, or went to some high school in Miami?
Yeah, it was all
and
in
just
Miami.
mobbed out. Like those were the coolest parts of the video. Was just him absolutely mobbing out with just like these teenagers who are big fans of him. But like I kept thinking throughout the whole video, like Drake is just like doing this to show how good of a person he is. Just like sneaking up to people with like a fat stack of cash behind his back, and then just sitting down next to him. Then people are like, "Oh my God, it's Drake!" And then he just like drops like $100,000 in their lap, and he's just like, "Boom! Look at how awesome I am!" Like it just obviously the message was awesome and the song's awesome, but Drake was loving the fact that he was such a good dude throughout that music video.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm a sap, but like I didn't really mind that at all. I feel like I think Drake is now like the LeBron of rap right now. Is
Wow,
that like he's
that's
on
a
top
good-
of the game. He's done so much. He's had his highs. He's had his lows. He's won his chips, and he's doing like cool stuff. And everyone's like, "Dude, sick! Like you're doing a whole music video. You could have just dropped the $1 million and like not told anyone about it." At the same time, I appreciated seeing the video. I think it was cool. People seemed like they needed it. I teared up a little bit, not gonna lie. I also teared up the second time I watched it at the same exact time in the video.
And it ties into like the idea of the song and like giving back and God has a plan
Yeah,
or whatever.
absolutely.
And so that's awesome. But yeah, Danny and I were talking about this before, how he's the LeBron of rap, and he's just such a cornball now. Like It's so hard to deal with, man. But
His dance
I was
moves
gonna
are
say-
so corny, but I
But
love
they
them.
They're
work.
great.
They
Yeah.
work so well,
Yeah.
and he's just it's so funny, like because he just like kind of oozes swag, and like
Yeah.
I feel as though if I did the exact dance moves, I get laughed out of the room.
Oh, I would look so bad.
It's
Yeah.
just it, but
He's just confident in doing them.
yes,
And he looks like he's enjoying it.
yeah,
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you know, as much of a PR move as it might have been, it's like, you know, it's so much better to donate $1 million and not have some music video where it's just girls shaking their
Yeah,
asses
yeah.
and like, you know, just holding guns the whole music video. You know, like that's just a million times better. You know, maybe the execution was a little self-serving, but you know, it's still a good move at the end of the day.
it was just
For
kind of
sure.
cool that God's Plan and Look Alive came out essentially like at the same time.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of like this is, you know, nice Drake, fun Drake, and then there's like hard Drake, and he's also like rapping about.
Oh, he's just
You
jumping
know.
on features everywhere.
Yeah,
He's like doing whatever
that
he
song,
wants.
that beat when it just first starts is fucking sick. I love that song so much.
Yeah, that's a great song.
And I was listening to it. When I first showed Ben that song. It was like, first of all, one of the few times that I'm the one showing Ben new music, because that almost never happens. And I was sitting there being like, Drake goes in, but then there's this other dude on the song who is literally just like screaming into the mic, and Ben's sitting there and he's moving his head and he's loving it. He's like, I don't know, I like this guy. And I've listened to the song a lot since, and now I'm like starting to come around on
Block Boy JD.
Black Boy, yeah.
Boy.
Bitch, come through, you and you.
So guys, do we give Block Boy JB a chance if
Yes.
he
I
puts
don't
out?
know. I think he needs Drake.
I'm
to
going
carry
full
the song.
album. I'll go full album with Block Boy.
maybe a little artist spotlight. We should
Entire
start doing that,
podcast
like
on Block Boy.
Drake artist spotlights. Whoever he makes big off like
Oh, wow.
one song,
Yeah,
make
yeah,
fun
just
of
a
him.
deep dive into Block Boy JB. Yeah. So next item on the list is the Towkio album drop. You can kind of talk
literal
about
drop.
this.
Yeah, so this Friday, Towkio was hyping up his album, and there's some video on Twitter with him in front of a crowd, and he's like, I'm literally going to drop my album from space. So he went up into a hot air balloon. It's like the edge of the atmosphere, and dropped his album essentially, which I think is potentially one of the greatest like album grabs for PR in the history of history. Like,
Yeah.
I maybe I would have listened to the album, but I was locked in. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I can't not listen to it now. It's actually a pretty good album too. We
yeah,
don't
it's
really get
solid.
into that aspect.
I can't
of it,
hate on the
but-
move. Like I have never been in a hot air balloon, so kudos to him for doing that, organizing
It's a
that.
cool
I bet.
experience.
Oh, I'm jealous. And the fact that he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna drop my album from space.
Yeah.
And it's like, what a stupid thing to like just do conceptually, but then it's also at the same time like, oh
It's kinda
man,
badass.
that's so cool. Like look at him.
He's just for people who don't really know who Towkio is. He's kind of like a spiritual type rapper. Like
He
his-
looks like Steve Aoki.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, which I think
Yes.
is really funny.
I actually saw him live at a Vic Mensa
Ooh.
show. He was the opener, and he was awesome. And I'd never heard of him before. He's like, is part of this not really well known rap collective from Chicago.
Was it
called
Save
Save
Money?
Money?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Vic Mensa and Chance were both in it. So he's worked with both those guys. And his last two albums, like this one's like Worldwide Wave, and his last one was Wave Theory. So he's like, I don't know, like into like the vibrations.
It's a wavy dude.
Wavy dude.
Wavy dude.
So he's definitely a cool, like, you know, lesser known rapper. Definitely worth taking a listen to his new album. You know, he did go into space, so I feel like he deserves a listen after that.
He's definitely got a lot of unique production too, which is where he kind of differs from Chance and Vic Mensa a lot. It's a lot more like electronic, more of an electronic sound to it, and it's still kind of got that preachy gospel, good vibes message going for it, which I enjoy a lot.
Yeah. Cool. So, we wanted to talk about initial impressions of the 6ix9ine album. And
We can even
kind
just talk about 6ix9ine too.
We can just talk about. I haven't even heard the album. I don't know. He's like a terrible guy.
Yep.
Well, he's like one of the SoundCloud era rappers. He's got like rainbow colored hair. He's like
He's got rainbow grills. He looks like he has Skittles for teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his like breakout song was Gummo, and like his style is basically just yelling as loud as he possibly can.
Pretty
over and
much,
over
yeah.
again into the mic.
It's not a whole lot to his gimmick, but you know what? Fuck it, I don't care. Like I'll put on Gummo, I'll put on Kiki, and he's got some decent features. Like Kiki's got Fetty and A Boogie. That's pretty solid to have on your track. Like
all 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
It's short. I'm not gonna listen to the album because I want to enjoy it. I want to listen to one song because I want to listen to something that's gonna make me smile and go real hard for like 2 minutes. And if I can exclude the fact that he's like a bad person and that like most of his shit is not palatable, I'll happily listen to one song at a time whenever I'm in the mood.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, just thinking about 6ix9ine as someone that I'm like totally okay with listening to is a weird concept because I feel like rap music is just getting more and more and more experimental. And like if I had heard 6ix9ine maybe, I don't know, like 4 years ago, I wouldn't have heard all the precursors. Like I wouldn't have heard as much Future or Young Thug or like Lil Pump. Like it's almost getting weirder and weirder, and I'm kind of wondering like when is it gonna stop?
It's also so weird, but it's also the mainstream. Like this is what Danny's a teacher, and this is like what his like sixth graders listen to, and I can't even fathom listening to that in sixth grade. Like
they're listening to the most ridiculous stuff. They're listening to like everything that's like really hard, like very vulgar, and just decidedly like not great.
Yeah, and it's now that we think about it in terms of like what younger generations are listening to, it's like I'm okay with myself listening to it because like I know the difference between right and wrong, and who I am is kind of already shaped. I'm 23. Like I kind of know like I'm not gonna go out and do some
pop sands and
I'm not gonna be doing that at this point in my life, but it is kind of weird that is now normalized, that kind of music, and like the values that kind of music like puts out there as being okay. But
even it's like for me, it's like the fact that like even the pop rap we had on the air was at least still pretty good, like in terms of like lyrical delivery, like Gold Digger, like Superstar by Lupe. Those were like two huge tracks in middle school that like got tons of radio play. Everyone listened to, and both those are like really good rap songs. Yeah. With like solid lyrics, like very catchy, and it's like I don't know, like you said, it must be like pushing boundaries, getting more experimental, like delving into like weirder, more explicit like content matter, and whatever that is, that's appealing now.
Yeah, and it's kind of I guess people have been equating like the rise of rap to the rise of rock, and so I guess kind of with rock you saw more of like a change into alternative with like Fall Out Boy and like Panic at the Disco. Granted, like we don't really view them as crazy now, but at the time they were like huge. Punky and a little bit different, and I guess that's kind of what we're seeing now. But with rap, for me, it's just like miles different, and I feel like this guy is literally the only reason he's like this entity is just because of how he looks and like what he's done in his life. It has nothing to do with his rap, which is and it's the same thing with Lil Pump and all these like other random ass rappers. It just like boggles my mind that they're literally made off social media. Like it's unbelievable.
And it like something interesting to think about is like how the hell has rap kind of dodged like the MeToo movement? Like Kodak Black straight up raped a chick and like is still out there making music. Like XXXTentacion is like a terrible person and beat his girlfriend every single day for like a month, and he's still out there making music, and nobody's like crying out for them to have their concerts boycotted or like there's people still listen to his music. Like what does that say about the culture around rap that it's okay to continue to let people like that make music? Like if Kodak Black was somebody in the movie industry, he'd be gone like that. They would just take him off every project and people would be outraged. But like because it's rap music and that kind of like those kind of actions are becoming more normalized. Like, that's just so bad that it's allowed to continue to exist. You know.
I mean, it's content for people, and it's like rap is almost turning into like a bad car accident. Like, it's horrible, and you don't want to look at it, but you can't look away from it. And it's just like, what is this guy gonna do next? Like, I need to follow him on social media. Like, this guy has 2 million Instagram followers. This guy's like literally more on me as I don't know.
I thought it was interesting. We watched the Grammys recently, and there were certainly some political statements made in that, and I think that's something to do with how these guys kind of skate by. Is one, it's just like, as bad as it is to say, it's the culture of rap. Kind of, that's all they talk about. So it's kind of like, you know, it just skates under the radar. That's one aspect to it, but I think that these guys like Kodak and XXX, I don't even know how you pronounce it, like those guys, and I might be wrong, in which case I might look really stupid right now, but those guys aren't winning Grammys, so like they're not up on the stage being applauded by all these like powerful women in the music industry. I don't know, like when I watched it, I'm blanking of course on like who did it, but the person who stands out was like Janelle Monáe at the Grammys. She had like a politically charged statement and everything. Like, I feel as though like there's no, like, people like Kodak especially get away with it because like no one, people are enjoying his music, but people like don't take him seriously, I think.
It's almost like there's a disconnect because they're internet famous and they're not like out live in front.
Like,
of
there's no
cameras.
parents or even like most adults aren't listening to these people. Like, they're not like, if I told my parents like, here are 3 names, have you heard of any of them? Like, they're not going to tell me like, oh, I've never heard of Triple X Tentacion.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know this person.
Yeah, but like the example that jumps to mind is Jay-Z. You know, he cheats on Beyonce and gets just ripped apart online. Like, he got ripped apart online for that because he just like cheated on Beyonce, which obviously, who the fuck cheats on Beyonce?
I mean,
but
it's crazy.
But you know, that's the thing. Like, Jay-Z's out there winning Grammys. He's like one of the biggest faces in rap music in general, and he made a mistake that I'm sure almost every famous musician has done at some point in their lives, and like he gets blown the fuck up, and like that's obviously kind of what happens when you get that famous. So I think that because no one really takes Kodak seriously, I use Kodak as my
it's a great example
for this.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he is not nearly and will never be the level that Jay-Z is. So it's just not going to be as on the radar as, you know, some of these like bigger names.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's our shitty rapper segment.
It seems like a continuing segment.
Every time.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a continuing thing in the industry. And like, as people who really like rap music, it's like something that's alarming, but I'm not willing to do anything about it just quite yet.
Yeah.
I don't really know when that's going to shift, or maybe I need to shift my perspective. But yeah, it is kind of bad, especially for younger impressionable minds. So now let's get to some of the more fun segments that we have. So we have, in honor of the NBA All-Star Week, was that this past weekend?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. We're going to have our rapper All-Star team draft. So I think we're going to do a snake draft. We'll just go one by one.
We can just work our way around the table.
And let's just have it so that we can't have any repeated names. And we're just going to do like 3 rappers each, maybe 5 if we want to continue, of just rappers you would want to have on your basketball pickup team. You know, who do you think can ball? We'll go for Danny with our first pick, the newcomer.
My first overall pick, joining Team Dignan. He goes hard in the paint, Waka Flocka.
That's a good
That
pick.
dude balls up.
He also makes a lot of basketball
Yeah, you're
references,
telling me
too.
6'5", that dude's not going to back down anyone who's trying to guard him.
Jeez, that's
Starting
a good point.
with a heater.
Is he? How old is he?
He's got to be like late 20s.
Yeah,
I think maybe approaching 30. I don't think he's 30, but
yeah.
he's not young. He's got
he can
he's
probably
got,
still
he's got some old
going
man
off
strength.
age.
I mean, you take that into account, you know.
Okay.
Walk is 31, actually.
That's good. I
That's
mean,
still LeBron's
LeBron's older than that.
Yeah. he's got some mileage, but he's got the old man strength.
He's got the energy.
He's veteran, wily presence. Yeah, he's still good.
What position is he playing on your team?
I mean, assuming that there's just not enough tall rappers, like he'll probably be power forward.
Yeah. What's like his role?
Baller.
I think, I envision him as like a less refined Boogie, like traditional big man in the post, can play real good. He's definitely got some post moves. He can dribble on the perimeter, but he's not a shooter.
Okay.
That's it. That's a solid pick. We'll go to Matt next.
Alrighty, I think I gotta take my boy Snoop as a good kind of stretch 4 or 5 type spot. I was scrolling through Reddit the other day or something and saw some videos of him balling up because he was at NBA All-Star Weekend. He was just like playing on outdoor courts. He actually looked pretty good.
Yeah.
He's kind of got like, the skinny southpaw. He's like almost like a skinny Zach Randolph. Like tall guy in the post. Looked like he had some good jumpers. Moves well.
Interesting.
So that's my pick.
Yeah.
I think I gotta go with 2 Chainz.
Damn.
that's
you
solid.
guys picked my...
Played in college. From ATL, I'm pretty sure they have a lot of good athletes that come from that area. At least I think he's from Atlanta.
Yeah, he is.
Okay. But yeah, no, 2 Chainz has got he can do it all. He's my utility guy.
He's pretty tall too. He's
He is
like
pretty tall.
6'8" or something.
I'm pretty sure.
No, he's 6'5".
He played in college.
Did not know that. Good fun fact.
Okay.
Put you on the spot here.
Wow, okay. I'm just looking at tall rappers.
Oh,
Yeah, this is kind of a cop-out.
That's
but out of nowhere, I picked Slim Thug.
Oh,
How
son
tall
of
is
a motherfucker!
Tipping off fofo. Wrapped in
Dude,
fofo.
Let's
go.
He's 6'6". He's from the dirty South. You know,
Houston.
He probably knows how to ball.
Yeah,
He
absolutely.
probably showed up to like the Houston Rockets practice
Oh,
once or
100%.
twice or something. And he's like
He's a
built.
big, beefy
Yeah,
dude.
he's solid.
Beefy.
he could be my center and just like I feel like he wouldn't be very good, but
Like
he'd just
T
be like
Nikes.
he'd be just like an enforcer.
Yeah.
White tee Nikes when you hit the club.
Yeah.
Always.
Absolutely.
Always.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Came out of nowhere, but good
Thank you.
choice.
Thank you.
and then you've got a
Yeah, it's
if
Snake.
it's Snake, so you're going again.
Oh yeah, okay.
No.
I go Chris Brown.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay. Very athletic, like mid-sized guy.
I've
I
seen-
was kind of leaning towards him.
Because I watch a lot of YouTube videos, like hoop mixtape type channels. Chris Brown is always at the celebrity games.
Yeah.
And he'll do like the pro-am games too. So I think he's like legit quite good.
Yeah.
Plus he can do a backflip. So
Yeah,
that must
he's
mean he's like
crazy athletic.
really athletic.
Yeah.
And he's a great dancer. So, worst comes to worst, he'll just put on a show.
It'll be a halftime show.
Yeah, he'll be
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. So Chris Brown, he would he'll beat the competition.
Yeah. All right. I changed my mind last second with this next choice. It could be a be all end all. I don't know if that's
End all be all.
end all be all. Maybe yeah, whatever. I'm gonna go with Game.
No,
Oh, that's a
that was
good
Ah!
That guy.
You didn't do it.
Goes
Ah!
hard in the paint for sure. I don't. He reminds me of Willie Cauley-Stein for whatever reason.
they look very similar.
Yeah, dude. I think Game would be my center who just absolutely like him and Slim Thug in the low block, battling back and forth, bumping and chunking.
Yeah.
Oh my
It
goodness.
says he's 6'4", so he's actually
Built like
pretty
a
tall.
house.
solid,
though.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then I think I was gonna pick the Game with my next
Ooh.
pick, but I think I'm gonna have to go with the new young talent that we saw last weekend, Quavo Huncho.
Yeah. Oh,
He had a solid 15 points in the Celebrity Game, which I don't give him too much credit for because those games are usually kind of weird with the assortment of players. But he looked pretty good, all things considered. So I'm taking him. I feel like he'd be a solid ball handler too. Him and Snoop would complement each other well.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, all right. So second overall pick, I'm going with age before beauty here Fun fact, this guy was actually a top 25 recruit coming out of high school. Cameron. He was recruited by, like, UMiami, Georgetown. Like, he was tight. So he's, like, easily, like, he's got to be, like, 40 right now. But, I mean, I see him as, like, a Vince Carter, Richard Jefferson, which, in terms of, like, talent level, and especially, like, playing, like, with, like, other players, I think he's, like, a solid pick. And then... third pick, I gotta go with some youth here. I'm going surprise pick. I'm going with some energy. This guy's gonna come in. He's gonna be, I think, defensive stalwart, maybe a 3-and-D specialist. Denzel Curry.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
like he'd be really aggressive.
Yeah, I think he'd be super aggressive. Nice bench player. We already have Waka and.
Are you
Cam.
saying that just because he looks like kind of like Jay Crowder? He's got like the long dread look to him, or like Damari Carroll.
No, dude. Definitely part of it. Definitely a strong part of it. But also just like the energy he brings to his music and the creativity, I think lends itself well to like a really good, bench presence, someone that can come in and be a reliable role player. Like he's not going to try and be the star.
Yeah.
Whereas and Cam is going to dominate and Walk is going to know his role and just like be super high in the paint, just waiting for the ball, like posting up people.
Walker seems like one of those guys who thinks he's way better than he is.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to fuck with him. I would not want to guard that.
He has like several like NBA 2K themed albums.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Like his last album was
basketball.
like the cover of 2K, but like his face photoshopped
Cropped
on
on
the Kevin
Kevin
Durant's body.
He has some great mixtape covers in general. I'd highly recommend looking at them. But with my third pick, in the moment I'm gonna have to pick it because I really don't know what I would do. I'm thinking Kung Fu Kenny. I don't think he's actually gonna be good.
Yeah, pretty short. Man.
I think he would just be a good facilitator and involve everyone well. So
he'd move really well without the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. And Quavo's already scoring. He just needs to be a good role player.
Yeah.
Quavo.
I think for my next pick, there are a combination of people who I want to choose, but if I have to choose one, I'm going to go with J. Cole.
That was mine.
Sorry, I keep taking people's. I guess J. Cole like walked onto his college team sophomore year or something, so he can hoop. He's got a basketball body.
Yeah.
He'd be a stretch four.
Plus he like all of his album covers were just him
Friday Night Lights.
Yeah. In a locker room. Mm-hmm. So he's got some experience.
Locker room talk.
Yeah. That'd be some great locker room talk.
Him and Chris Brown would
geez.
combo.
Sea Breezy was such a good choice.
Yeah. Well, I gotta go with the Drake Quake for my last pick. I mean, the Warriors practiced at his house a few times.
But didn't you see him toss on a Kentucky jersey, get in their warm-ups, and then immediately airball the three in front of everybody?
That's fine.
That's a tough situation to hit a three.
I don't know.
That's a tough situation. I don't know. He probably didn't. That was warm-ups. Okay. You're supposed to get all the misses out of the way during the warm-ups.
Okay.
So, yeah. Who do we think would be the winning team out of all of us?
I think it's got to be mine.
I think Diggs' team is pretty good. I feel like you had some unknown knowledge.
Game, J. Cole.
Waka, Denzel Curry, Killa Cam.
I think it's between Andy and Diggs.
Let's go with
what was your team?
Mine was Kendrick, Quavo, and Snoop. I think I would just get out muscled.
Yeah.
Especially in 3-on-3, you need kind of a bigger body. I feel like I don't have that. So
I feel like Kendrick just isn't athletic.
No, I just couldn't think of anyone in the moment, so I went with him.
Yeah, I kind of cheated. I kind of looked up.
That's all right.
I looked up rappers. A guy who I want coming off the bench, Ice Cube, because he fucks around and gets a triple double.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yes, he does. Nelly.
Yeah,
Nelly. I would probably want
he
Nelly
was in the
on the bench.
All-Star game. I mean, the celebrity.
No, he's
All-Star
good.
game.
I would want Nelly. Didn't know Master P used to play in the NBA. Actually,
What?
or he was on the Raptors and another team. He never played a regular season game, but he like made the league technically.
Who?
Master P.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then his son, isn't Romeo his son? Because Romeo played, like, Lil Romeo played, like, USC.
Shit.
I'm not sure.
If any listeners are screaming names into the silence right
we
now,
can't hear you.
We're not, adding. Tweet at us, and we'll get them in the next podcast.
Dignan at excelacademy.org. Send me an email. Let me know what's up.
Cool. So, right now, our missing member, Yiorgos, has sent us a mailbag of questions, if you will. So we're gonna do Yiorgos' mailbag. So let's get to it. So, first question. If you could have dinner with any musician, living or dead, who would it be?
Interesting.
I have a very clear answer for mine.
Oh, Bronson.
Action Bronson.
Yeah.
100%. He's like the coolest dude. I feel like he'd be really easy to talk to. Just seeing how he interacts with people on like Fuck That's Delicious and his other shows. Seems like he's just a really nice guy. And plus, he's just so into food and into cooking. I bet he'd probably like make me something really delicious, and he'd be like having me help him cut, and he'd be like, "No, like this is how you actually cut," and like he'd be teaching me like along the way.
You definitely get the full culinary experience with him compared to other rappers.
He'd be like, taste these like notes of like fresh oregano and this and that. It'd be great.
I feel like with these questions, we should just like each person gets like one question to field. So like,
Sure.
instead of having us go around and answer all of them,
there are a lot.
I feel like we've been going for a while too. It's like almost one.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So I answered the first question. So. The second question, we can all answer this one from Yiorgos. Do you miss me?
Sort of.
I miss Yiorgos.
Yeah.
I miss Yiorgos.
Yeah. Not only for his beautiful personality and presence, but also our production is very lackluster. So we appreciate you and miss you.
We love you, Yiorgos. Question 3. I'll ask Matt this one. No, I'll ask Diggs this one.
All right, what do we got?
Which musician had the most iconic getup/costume/look? And some of his examples were MJ in Thriller or Prince.
I'm gonna say the guitarist for Limp Bizkit.
Wow.
What is that? Look
That
like?
dude, all right, so last year, I don't want to say I got into a phase because I wouldn't listen to them on my own, but like,
Sounds like a phase.
it's no, but basically, because like, I just became like really into the idea of like, why did people think this was like enjoyable or like good to listen to? Because I heard and I was like, this is so abrasive and Wes Borland, I think is his name. But because they were like rap rock, like really kind of Fred Durst made their name Limp Bizkit because he wanted the most unappealing name for a band he could think of.
Really?
Yeah. And Wes Borland just like dressed up in the most ridiculous stuff. Like, some of the examples of him dressing, he'd like put paint on, and he had like his guitars are like he'd use like 12-string guitars playing these like ridiculously like low chords. He's like a very influential guitarist, but he dressed up a lot. So I would say most iconic getup. Probably not him, but that's the one that's jumping to my mind right now.
Definitely a cool one for people that don't know that either. Like I've never listened to Limp Bizkit.
Please don't listen to them that often. It's not great.
Yeah. Next question. Great answer, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That was good. I didn't know about Wes Borland.
Let's listen to some live Woodstock 99 recordings. It's crazy stuff.
It's always good to bring Limp Bizkit back into the fold.
Always.
Next question is for Matt. If you could be a fly on the wall in the booth with any artist/artists, who would it be and why?
I mean, it's probably a generic answer, but Kendrick probably just because... Or actually, you know what? No. Metro Boomin. I would love to see because I feel like he's so behind the scenes for me. Like, I think I saw... The only footage I've really seen from him was when they did a segment with him on Noisy for, like, the Atlanta region.
Yeah.
But outside of that, he's just this random, like, 23-year-old dude who just churns out fire beats. I would love to just see him go to work. Yeah. So
I would almost like to see, like, a really terrible rapper and just see how they justify certain lyrics. Yeah. Or if they even address it.
Like Kodak.
Imagine Kodak. What are you thinking about right now? Oh, just figured it was a great analogy to make.
Yeah. So that's my answer.
Cool. Last question to my main man, Andy. If you could swap bodies, Freaky Friday scenario, with a living musician for a day, who would it be and why? and his suggestion was A$AP Rocky. I want to go to fashion shows, do a lot of drugs, and bang models for a day.
A$AP is a cool choice. I think the obvious answer is Drake.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
that's a good
As
one.
Diggs said, like, he's the LeBron of the game. Like, everyone is like slobbering on his dick right now, and
That's true.
like, obviously he just lives an absolute baller life. I think it's got to be Drake.
Shouts to the 6.
That's great. Yeah, I like all those answers. And that was it for the first episode of the Yiorgos Mailbag segment. And on that note, I think we're done. Yeah. Shout out to Maisie, as always. You know, she keeps us going. And, yeah, signing off. Yeah, you guys do your sign off.
This is Andy signing off.
Keep it trill.
This is Dan Dignan. Hopefully back sooner than later.
Psych!
I got supplies. Ain't no need to stopping, girl. Ain't nobody topic, girl. Ain't no